Hey guys, Jeb Smith, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage here in Southern California. And today I'm back talking about rent control. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on AB 1482, which is the rent control bill that the Assembly passed. And at that time, it was still waiting on Newsom's desk, Governor Gavin Newsom, to sign. And that happened on Tuesday of this week. So as of January 1st, 2020, rent control will be in effect in the state of California. So I'm doing this video to update you on what that really means, what rent control means and what actually goes into effect as of January 1st, but also to tell you the downsides, right? What does rent control really mean as a builder, as somebody that actually owns units or investment property out there? So how could it, and how it could affect you? So he did sign the bill. So as of January 1st, 2020, it does go into effect. So what that actually means is that as of that date, you can't, as a property owner who owns investment property, you can't raise rent more than 5% plus inflation. And so the inflation number is the big number that people question, and it's based off the CPI, so the Consumer Price Index of major metropolitan areas. So in our area, it's Los Angeles County. And so for the last 9 years, the inflation has been about 2.5% per year. So that would mean that you can't raise rents in our area more than, say, 5%. I'm saying 5% plus the inflation of 2.5%, so a total of 7.5%. Now, this is only for properties that are older than 15 years old, and for properties that are more than 2 units. So, properties that are single families and condos are exempt. So this does not affect single families or condos, and it doesn't affect duplexes where the owner actually occupies one of the units. So if it's a duplex that is completely an investment property, the owner doesn't live in it, then the rent control bill would be in effect for that property as well. And now keep in mind, it's for properties that are older than 15 years, but each year that passes, so this is a 10-year bill, so each year that passes, you're going to add a year from where we currently are. So right now it's 2019. So this wouldn't, if your property was older than 2004, it would go into effect. So as of 2020, properties that were built prior to 2005 would be in effect. 2021, 2006, so on and so forth. So each year that passes, a year is going to be added to that number. And so properties that were built later, so 2007, 2022, those properties would fall under that guideline. And now, why rent control is a big problem is because, for one, it hinders construction, right? So if you keep rents low, people never have a reason to get out of a property, which means builders don't have a reason to build because no one moves, construction goes to a halt, so on and so forth. That creates a bigger problem with inventory, right? So in Southern California, we have a big problem with inventory already because of the restrictions that were put on home builders back during the financial crisis of like 2007, 2008. So we've already got or have an issue with regards to low inventory because of the restrictions on builders, and then you have rent control, which is probably going to add to that, which is going to create more of an inventory issue. The second thing is, as an investor, if you're one of, like a lot of investors out there that don't actually raise rents every single year, don't keep up with actual market rents, you're the people that get affected the most, because now you're not in a position to raise it to actual market rents before this law goes into effect, because it's actually retroactive back to March. So if you didn't raise rents to market value prior to March, you're not going to be able to do that. And going forward, you're limited based on how much you can raise them each year as of January 1st. So right now you could raise them, but as of January 1st, it's retroactive back to March. So keep that in mind. You can't just go to market value now and then hope in January that you can raise it another 7.5%. Not how it works, unfortunately. So, the good people that have been keeping rents low are the people that are affected the most. And another thing is, when you go to sell your property as an investor, units are based on a cap rate. So your actual rents, right? So the more rent your property receives, in theory, the higher price it's going to fetch because of the rent coming into that property, right? So if you're a person that has been keeping rents low for whatever reason, the value of your property when you go to sell it is actually going to be less than, say, a property that's exactly like it that's been keeping up with market rents, right? And you can't just go in there and kick the tenants out, because part of the law that's being passed is now you have to have like a valid reason in order to move tenants out of a property. You can't just, tell them that you want to raise rents and so that they have to go, if you will. And even if you're doing a major remodel on a property and you want the tenants out of the property, you've got to pay to move them out of the property. I think up to 1 month's rent. So it's not as easy as just buying a property and raising the rents and the tenant leaves. You can't do that anymore. And another thing is you're probably more than likely you're going to have investors put properties on the market to sell them, right? Because now their values are going to be hindered going forward. They could take that money from the investment here in California and move it out of state. So my guess is over the next couple of, probably year, 18 months, you're going to see a lot of units come on the market because people want to be able to control their own property. And the rents that they receive, they don't want it to be controlled by the state. And that's what rent control does, actually. So people are going to likely sell property in the state of California, move it out of state where they don't have these laws. And so in my eyes, you're probably going to see a lot more property come on the market. You're going to see people that don't really want to get into units for this very reason. But who knows, right? If you do have comments, list them below. This bill, if you will, affects, that would be really weird. It affects investors more so than anyone else, right? The people that actually own units. So for the majority of people out there, this isn't really a big issue. The people that own single families, condos, not really a problem. But the people that do own units, it could be a big problem for you. So, comment below if you have questions. Anxious to know what you guys think. Like the video if you would. I would appreciate it. And as always, I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. And I'll update you as we know more. But have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.